Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Turin here with another Warhammer Total War live battlecast. In this particular game, we are going to play the DAWI against the Empire, so definitely going to be a fun time. It's a hard matchup, I think, but still, the fact that the cannon range did get buffed for the Dwarfs to up to 440, it really helps out a lot. So we're going to get 2 cannons. On top of that, we're also going to get the 2 runesmiths. So one runesmith will have all of the tools at his disposal, including the Master and Grungni, decides in case he decides to bring like handgun or something like that. The other one is just going to be, like I usually do, a Wrath and Rune bot, essentially. So he's just going to be spamming that every chance he gets. You don't need the Forge Fire and all that other kind of funny business. So on top of that, we're going to get, do we want to get the Iron Breakers? They're so much fun. But actually, this game, we're probably just going to get Longbeards with Great Weapons. These guys do have charge defense now, so in a frontline situation, one supported by Runesmiths, they can do really well. They can take those heavy-duty charges if need be, against Cav, and, just a great unit all around, in my opinion. So on top of that, we are going to get the Dragonback Slayers. Love these guys. They're so much fun. What is this buff, actually? The Power of Dragonback. So they get a perpetual 20 flame resistance, but, oh, that's cool. And they give a negativity to flame to the opponents. So very cool. So we're going to get those guys, and then we probably need a few additional support troops in the back line to really protect these cannons. So I'm trying to think. The Peak Gate Guard aren't a bad choice, actually, because they can really dumpster, pretty much any armored unit that comes their way, or if he decides to land a General of the Empire or anything like that, it's going to go very badly. But the Slayers kind of cover me on that base. So let's see here. What do I want to get in the back line? It looks like I have 29 seconds left. I got 2 cannons. Master Engineer is tempting, but still, I feel like I need a little bit more unit density to deal with kind of all that, funny business in the back line. So we could honestly just get more Longbeards. I mean, that's really not a bad choice, but we could also get the Iron Breakers. So much fun, guys. Let's go ahead and just get 2 more of these guys. I mean, they'll do well against most Empire infantry, to be honest, with how heavily armored they are. So let's go ahead and get those guys, and we can pump some chevrons right now. We'll pump some chevrons into all these guys, and I only have a few seconds. Oh, God. So we're good. Should be enough. But yeah, this is just good. I mean, swordsmen, halberdiers, you're not going to see those in the dwarf matchup. You're either going to see, Demogryph Knights, which again, I have the charge defense, so it's going to be pretty helpful in the back line. And also they have the armor piercing, so they can deal with great swords, they can deal with Demogryph Knights, they can deal with heroic units, relatively speaking. Granted, great swords are probably slightly superior in terms of infantry quality, but not by much. Not by much at all. It's very close, and especially if you have a runesmith nearby, providing those buffs, it's going to, tilt the battle in your favor, to say the least. So this is a really good map for me since I did bring 2 cannons. It's just big, it's open field. The opponent can't run and hide in the trees, really. I mean, especially since he's deploying on that side. If you were over here, I suppose he had, no, you can't even, this is one of those obstructed terrain areas right here. So you can't do much here. But this is a pretty cool little aesthetic they got going on here. It looks like there's some, is that like a Beastman thing? I don't know, it might be, but pretty neat. But I would say this is a good map, definitely good for the dwarves, open field. But then on that same note, depending on the style of dwarvish play you're choosing, certain terrain can be helpful for you. It takes away an entire flank that your opponent could essentially take advantage of, and all sorts of things like that. So hopefully my opponent loads in here shortly, and we can get right down to the fun for you guys. But this is definitely a cool looking map. I mean, just look at these kind of gaping chasms here and just all this neat stuff going on. The Warhammer universe is just so cool looking, for sure. I never really looked into the Age of Sigmar stuff or any of that. When I was young, I was into the tabletop stuff a little bit. I just kind of mainly painted some armies, but I didn't really get that involved. I was more of a Magic the Gathering type nerd, but always a good time. Always a good time, guys. So we're ready to go. So the one downside is I am in the open field. So again, he's going to have a lot of maneuverability and, can really run circles around me, to say the least. The Grumbling Guard, also, you want to keep them kind of in the back to protect, in my opinion, because they don't have charge defense. So you don't want them in that front line kind of taking that beating. So, and how many do we want? So we probably want 3 in the front line. They're going to have Big Papa Grom there, but Grom I usually pull back to deal with Cav anyways. So we're going to pull this guy here. Very, very good so far. We're going to get the cannons, and you got to make sure to have some depth. So we're going to put them back just a little bit. That should be enough, I think. So let's actually do it just like this. And if it's not, I mean, I can always just move the front line, but that should be good there. So the Grumbling Guard can just be right behind them, and then we'll put a group of Longbeards with great weapons on each wing here. And then we'll put the Slayers in group 2, and these guys can just be a big, ugly group 1. So we're ready to party. Let's have some fun. So cannons, first thing you want to do is get them targeting at the appropriate targets. So to be honest, the demis are probably the best targets. So we're just going to switch here and see if we can get a shot before he starts paying attention. That's going to be really, really nice. So I'm having to push just a little bit. Hopefully I don't get obstructed here. If so, I can just move these 3 guys forward, and that should be fine. So I think we're just about in range, and it looks like the cannons are now shooting, so that's going to be really good. Hopefully I can kill a few models before he's able to react. That would just be the most ideal situation, obviously. So I'm firing here. He has a pretty wide formation, which is actually good, because if I hit, it looks like I did take one of those guys off his mount there and get some nice cannon shots there, and I'm doing really, really good damage so far. So very happy about that. We're going to posture these guys up here, and these guys kind of right over here, and just get ready. Grom Brindle obviously needs to be in the back. Because what you want to do in this matchup is just use the flash bomb to really punish that. We're going to pull these guys back a little bit, get the Slayers in a little tighter in case he decides to land his Lord here, which I'm totally fine with. So Cannon's doing their job for sure. I mean, I don't mind the Greatswords as much. I feel like I have armor piercing, but the Demogryph Knights are just such a high value, low model unit that every kill you can get on them is pretty substantial. So I wish I could like Rune and Wrath and Rune. This is where having a Master Engineer is nice, because he can't like just fly above you and troll you. So maybe we should bring these guys and switch them with the Slayers, actually. Because the Slayers do have charge defense, if I'm not mistaken. So he's just going to try and run circles and outmaneuver me, which I'm totally fine with. You know, I don't mind playing that game. Oh, man. Excuse me, guys. Long day, but we're getting there. The other group did, unfortunately, run for cover. It's hiding in the hills, so we're just going to switch this cannon fire onto its main group here, and hopefully we can get some kills before the fighting started. But these demis over here are continuing to take damage, so very, very good situation there. We got Grom here, so if he comes in here and lands, he's definitely going to take a little bit of damage, but he's going for this Runesmith here, which is fine. Very well played. I mean, he's going to get a little bit of damage, but if Grom can get in there and there's like an awkward, you know, kind of pathing for his Lord, it's going to be pretty tricky, but he might just run out the front here. But if Grom gets one hit, that's going to be pretty bad for him. I think it should do some damage, and you can see already now it's a pretty decent trade for me. So this cannon's doing some good work against the Greatswords, but I'm tempted to switch it over here, but why not? It's already got, you know, a decent angle here, but we can switch it right now to that one. So these guys did pretty good in the front line. Let's go ahead and reform our ranks, get that Runesmith back here. Go ahead and use a Rune of Wrath and Rune there, and we'll go ahead and use one right here as well. So far, so good, guys. And the cannons are continuing to pay for themselves. I mean, I'd say they're doing very, very well. Grombrindle, we want to get him back in that kind of center mass. And he does have a ton of Greatswords, though. This is going to be a lot to deal with. That other group of Demogryph Knights, I'm not quite sure where it went. But these guys are going to take the charges like champs. They have charge defense against large foes now, so that's totally fine with me. I don't mind it at all. So the cannons here, we want to keep them firing. We're going to get these Slayers over here as well. And just start rolling, guys. We're doing it. So got to get the charges here. I kind of messed that a little bit. I got it on most of them, which is good. We'll go ahead and use that rune there. Grombrindle, we're going to send him after the Empire Lord over there. We're going to pull these guys back, pull these guys here. Just kind of keep tabs on all these like different units coming my way. So we're going to do that and that. Use the Slayers to protect the back line here. And I think we're okay, guys. It's going pretty good. The cannons are continuing to fire. Grombrindle is on his Lord. We're going to use that Flash Bomb to try and keep him from getting away, so we can get into a few additional strikes. And all right, so we're in. We're good, guys. So let's get these guys going. I can't leave the Slayers here. I mean, I can't take them away, excuse me, is what I was trying to say. So let's go ahead and send them here. The Rune of Wrath and Rune will be up in a few seconds. Let's go ahead and collapse on him right here. And does he have any more? I think everything's, relatively speaking, committed to the battle. So we got the Rune of Wrath and Rune. Let's go ahead and use it on these Greatswords here. And let's go ahead and use the Rune of Wrath and Rune over here as well. So far, Grombrindle's continuing to pimp slap this General of the Empire, which I'm very, very happy about. These cannons are kind of in an awkward place, and this often happens in these very, very tight engagements. So let's see if we can just start shooting at his Lord. I mean, his Lord has been taking a lot of damage, and let's see. He looks like he is targeting my General, or not my General, my Grombrindle. So we'll just have him fight. I don't mind trading at all. The Dwarves have pretty high base leadership, so if I have to trade, it's a pretty decent situation. And the cannons and the Slayers are doing pretty well over here, so now we can pull these Slayers over here and have them really help out. Because this flank, essentially, for my opponent is going to be collapsed here. And you can see my cannons are firing at his Lord. Fortunately, he's going to get these Greatswords in, which is definitely a bummer, but the Slayers might be able to deal with that. So we'll pull them here. This cannon is still shooting. You can see his Lord's taking damage, so pretty good. And let's get them, yeah, you see, he pulls back immediately, noticing that, you know, there's a bit of a risk there. So the Slayers, we're going to get them back in here now that my opponent's committed a little bit more. And we don't have a Rune of Wrath and Rune up. We'll have one up in 2 seconds, which is going to be pretty nice. So let's use it on this big, healthy group of Greatswords here. And this group here, we want to use on, what else? Yeah, he's got a pretty big blob going on over there. So cannons continuing to pressure my opponent's Lord, though, which is very, very good. And you can see the demis are starting to take some damage. And I could use Grombrindle has no fear. This is probably a good time to do it. Once I see someone start to waver is when I'll probably, you know, try and go for that. So we're going to get these guys back. The Slayers, just keep them pursuing these demis. You know, again, the cannon crews are obviously going to take a bit of a beating here and there. But Grombrindle is doing good in the front line. He's doing his thing, guys. The Dwarves are, you know, putting up a good fight. Definitely feel like this matchup is a lot better now. These guys need to get back on their cannons, so the Slayers were able to get in there and punish those Demogryph Knights. So man, this is just a dream come true right now. Everything's going relatively to plan, which is pretty rare against the Empire. So right here, these guys are able to clean up a little bit in the front line. We have these runes. We got to make sure to use those. And it looks like he did have a potion. Man, that healed for a lot, actually. That's pretty impressive. So let's go ahead and just keep shooting at him and just, you know, keep him pressured, because as soon as he breaks, you know, I think the battle's going to be over. So we're going to go in the front line here. It looks like he has a Jade Wizard, so he probably has been healing, you know, a lot of his units in the front line and the flanks and everything. And Grombrindle, we want to get him here. And it looks like these Slayers were able to clean up these guys. Let's actually make sure they stay cleaned up. So my opponent just realized that they were back on the battlefield, essentially. And you know, man, it looks like we got a few good cannon strikes there. And let's go ahead and use Grombrindle has no fear, because we have a lot of guys that are shaken or, you know, pretty low health. So it's going to keep my guys fighting like to the bitter end, which is so great because the duration is quite long. So these Slayers, they need to catch up and get over there to help Papa Grom. We do have a Rune of Wrath and Rune here. Let's go ahead and use it on these guys. And it looks like the Dwarven front line, they're resilient, they're fighting. They're doing me proud, boys. They're doing me proud. And these Slayers, again, just continue to protect these cannons who are pressuring his Lord. But he's doing a very good job kind of outrunning Grombrindle, which probably isn't hard, to be honest. But we'll just keep Grombrindle here and have him kind of win this particular engagement, ideally. And just keep protecting with the Slayers, I guess. Let's have them get on those demis there. And how are we doing here? Do we have another Rune there? We do, and it looks like my guy got isolated a little bit, so let's see if we can pull him back through the flank. Thankfully for me, nothing's gonna... I thought how did he break? Don't these guys still have it? No, it looks like it wore off, so that's definitely a bummer. So the cannon's continuing to pressure in here. The Dwarves, there's only like literally like a few left. But these Slayers are able to, you know, do some work here and shake these guys and do pretty good for me. So let's pull Grom back. We need to get him with the Slayers. We need to get just everything high and tight right here. So cannons are continuing to fight. The Slayers, you see, he was about to land actually, but he decided not to in the last second. So Grombrindle here is just going to kind of scurry. We need to get him to the Slayers like ASAP, because having him isolated like this is really, really bad. Oh, he gets knocked. That's like one of the worst case situations. Thankfully, these Slayers are going to fight, you know, no matter what though. So let's go ahead and use a Rune of Wrath and Rune on these greatswords here. Get the Slayers in there. He does have a lot of units coming back, and it looks like his Lord is pretty low. But let's just have these cannons start firing into those units, and we do have this guy back as well. So let's go ahead and use that on, you know, another group here. Should be fine, and we will. Oh, we almost have the flash bomb, which is going to be really, really nice. Slayers are fighting, but unfortunately they're fighting mostly greatswords. But let's use that flash bomb, see if we can rout off a few units. And oh damn, looks like he got me, boys. Very, very well played game. That was a close one. The Jade Wizard was very good. Made a pretty big difference for sure, and he was very like good at microing his Lord. He was pulling it around, definitely giving me a lot of trouble, but I feel like the cannons did pretty well against the Demogryph Knights, and just having all that armor piercing was pretty solid as well. But I feel like there was a lot of inefficiencies with the way that I handled Grombrindle, because he was kind of running in circles, chasing his Lord, whereas every time, you know, his Lord dove in, he was dealing pretty substantial damage to, let's say, you know, my cannons or, you know, my runesmiths, things like that. So maybe I should have rethought the way I wanted to use Grombrindle and just use him simply to go after, let's say, I don't know, just have him sit and fight some greatswords for a while and kill some models. Because again, if Grombrindle gets in there, kills a few models, they can't heal, then there's value loss there. Also on that same note, there was opportunities I probably could have left Grom to deal with the demis. And, you know, I think that could have been pretty good as well. Also, the Slayers did a lot of unnecessary chasing. I think the cannons at that point in the game might have been worth forsaking, and then simply using the Slayers in the main engagement to, like, pursue some heroic units. And also, Grombrindle probably could have chased down this Jade Wizard. So, a lot of changes there, but very well played to my opponent. He was very good at microing his Lord. His Greatswords did very well. Demogryph Knights did pretty well, so just good all around. Very solid stuff. So, good game to my opponent, Andy Poop 9000. I look forward to seeing you again on Ladder, and I hope you guys have an excellent night. Take care.